Prem Sabalavindra Van Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Sitaram, everybody. Let's put our hands together as we begin tonight on this auspicious occasion of the Ekadashi in this Kartik month, as we enter into a little discourse tonight for the benefit of Aaji. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kapeta Jambu Palachar Bhakshritam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangalmangalye Shive Sarvarta Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One more time, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vindravan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, everybody, it is my pleasure to join with the family here in Faizabad, sorry, Faizabad. For all of you online, welcome to Satsangh. Tonight, throughout the world, people are celebrating something called Prabodhini Ekadashi. It marks a very significant end to something called Chaturmas. And a lot of people don't know the value of today. Because of my friendship with Panditji, and I know how much he loves his Ekadashi, I wanted to read this discourse for you. Last night we had Guruji Pandit Parashram answering some wonderful questions. Pandit shared the questions with me. I thought it was a wonderful list of questions, and I myself want to go and listen to what Pandit talk about. I think it is a wonderful experience when we could learn in settings like this, because we have to remember what this is about. This is not for show. This is not we are coming together to impress anybody or anything like that. We are playing very smart, to use real language. When Hindus say they love whilst life is within the body, and in simple language, we love when the life leaves the body. But when Ma, in this case, in this family, when the mother, we don't know where this lady is, we don't know what is her condition, what could I do to help? I could do prayers. So the logic of inviting everybody is so that whilst we are sitting together in this little time, if everybody could walk away with a little piece of information, a little understanding of God, or the proceedings that are coming up when we have to do Bandara, when we talked about last night with Sapinda and Pindadan and all of that, when the person understands their Dharma a little better, and time to share blessing and punyam, who caused you to learn that? Simple language. Who give you that understanding? Yes, you could say, my guru teach me, my mother teach me, my father teach me. In this instance, Aaji is the person, all of us coming together. She's responsible. In simple language, it's as if Aaji is here and she had a prayers and all of we come, and one day we get prasad, one day we get panchamrit. You will say, that lady prays, wow, I got blessed. In the same breath. Because of Aaji, we are here tonight. And we are going to listen to some different discourse. Tonight I start in Padma Puran. chapter 1, chapter 61. Tonight we'll deal a lot, in this short time we're together, a lot of where Yudhishthira is asking questions about what you could do and what's the benefit of doing it on tonight. In this part, Yudhishthira is asking Lord Krishna from one chapter to the other, what is this Ekadashi? What is that Ekadashi? When you hear people say every month there are two Ekadashi, Ekadashi is a fancy word that means the 11th day in the fortnight. So bright half, dark half. So Yudhishthira is somebody at this point in his life from Mahabharata, he considers himself very sinful. He gambled away his brother, he gambled away his wife, and he thinks to himself, what help, what benefit, what prayers I could do to help myself. So throughout this conversation, Yudhishthira at different times is the person who asks the whole, when you hear people talking about Ganesh Chaut and Pandit Parasram, for example, is saying when on the Chaut day, people offer dub grass mixed in ghee and they burn it in Havan, all of that comes from Yudhishthira asking Lord Krishna, is there prayers I could do that will remove my bad luck, my hardship, my difficulty, etc. So as the talk progressed, they finished with Chaut, they did Panchmi, they did different vrat, and now he reaches to Ekadashi. In the previous chapter, he talks about the Rama Ekadashi. Now he reaches to this one called Prabodhini. He says, "Oh Krishna, I have heard now from you the importance of Rama Ekadashi. Tell me, what is the next Ekadashi? What is the Ekadashi when Kartik, when the bright half is there? What is that one about? What is the benefit when a person should keep it up? How could a person keep it up?" Narad Muni, who is the person who is discussing this whole Ekadashi thing with Brahma, he says, "Tell me, Father, Brahma, please tell me what was discussed between these two people. And I have heard that on this Prabodhini, a lot of waking, Jagran, waking up through the night, is one of the main things that people offer on this one. Whilst there are different flowers for different Ekadashi, different prasad that gives a person merit, it says that on this one, dear Father, people offer their sleep. They give that as the main ingredient for this one. And what is the symbolism? What is the significance of this day? Because it says it's so important. And in it, you will hear why there's, for some people who went, let me say, prematurely to go and bathe. We want to say this Kartik finishing are going to bathe Kartik Nahan. Some people go and they do it before. And when you do it before the Prabodhini Ekadashi, why the person is getting less blessing than when the correct time, when the time is finishing. Tonight you will hear about that. Brahma tells Narad that in the month of Kartik, prior to Prabodhini, prior to this Ekadashi, prior till today, Ganga remains upon the earth roaring. And she is the only form taking away sin, destroying sin. But when on this day, on the Prabodhini day, the person who is able to fast, the person who is able to make gifts, the person who is able to do prayer, gains different amount of blessing. For example, that type of blessing which is difficult to obtain when people are sickly and they cannot overcome the sickness, this person who fasts on the Hari Bodhani or Prabodhani, that allows the person to gain their energy. Imagine like a dancer or a stage performer, and the person, when you see them bow to the stage to get the favor that when they enter the competition they want to win, that person could have that favor. The person that is praying for wealth, let's say the business person who is praying for cash flow, that person who is praying to pass the exam, that person who is praying for election, that person who is praying for happiness, all these things come quickly to the person who is able to do the prayer on today. Best is if the person is able to sacrifice their sleep a little bit on the night of this Ekadashi. When a person has created the world of sin, O Narad, just by waking, the person is able to reduce it to nothing. When the person Not only themselves, but the person's ancestors benefit. They live in delight, they live in happiness in Vishnu's world, where even if the ancestors create sin, the person, it says here, has accumulated the sin of Brahmatya or destroying Brahman. They are the persons who involved in different heinous crimes against children, causing children to starve, ill-treating elders, ill-treating parents. When those people are your ancestors, your pitras, the prate attached to the family, when the living members practice doing worship, the jagran or the sacrifice of sleep again, it is as if the living members are washing those that have passed on long ago or recent time of all the sins that is going to be cleansed, but the person has to do different type of yag, Ashwamedya Yag, Som Yag, reading the whole Gita, reading from Bhagavad. What takes a lot of effort and energy is easily obtained by sacrifice on this Prabodhini. A person who is able to do this is as if they have given gold in Dan, land in Dan, bathing in the Ganga itself, taken away all forms of sins and punishment. Narad Muni says, so great, please tell me more. I want to understand, what could I do? Dear Narad, the person who enjoys this vrat today of doing the Ekadashi, but they do not miss this one, the person is praying without knowing it that, dear Mahavishnu, may you never allow me to have karma, that I must be born again. I must not go through the hardship. Imagine what it says in text. How unfortunate, whilst yes, it's a blessing to get the human form, but imagine you're going through all the hardship of being in the mommy belly, born and so on. When you're born, you can't say you're hungry, an ant's biting you, you can't communicate, hello, I'm in pain, I'm in trouble. Depending on the karma, people experience that when they now come, and unfortunately, when they reach a senior age, if let me use the word stroke or something, if depending on the person's karma, they might go through suffering again. In my example of the ants biting you, but I can't say nothing. I'm thirsty, but I can't say anything. The person who fasts on this day, or Arjun, does not have to go through that type of suffering. In fact, the person, no matter what sin they make, sins that are committed through your deeds, your mind, your speech, all of this is washed away by keeping fast on the Prabodhini. If tonight, because of the death of Ma, many people would be tempted to say, well, you know, we have a debt, we can't do anything for Ekadashi. But the truth is, in this discourse, it says the person is still able to keep up at least the aspect of waking, and in it, you will still get the blessing. Those people who worship Mahavishnu on this day are freed from all types of sin, from different existence. Oh son, this day is so beneficial if the person would only chant the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. The Sahasranam is a passage, is a stotra. If the person does this chanting, it doesn't mean I have to offer sindoor and saffron and all those things. I can, but I don't necessarily have to. The person who does this during the day, all the sin that is accumulated from childhood days, from youth, straight up to old age, from different births, whatever is causing the problems in the body, the person is able to remove these things from the history. So before we move on, let me explain that. God make everybody. But in different part of Gerd Puran, you will hear on everybody person on their body, it have marks. What does make a person miss a appendage or have a predisposition to things like diabetes or lose a limb, have this sickness, that sickness. If you look at it carefully, if we say you are made in the image of God, then I should be perfect. I should not have an allergy. I should not have a disease. I should not have this trouble, that trouble. But Garud Puran says, for example, if in your previous birth, you went to court, for example, You went to court and you said, I see this girl kill this man. That is totally untrue. No problem. In your next life, you will not have the eyes. So God make the person, but now he make it in this different way that the mother and the father holding this new child go say, well, where was God? What this new child do? That whether it is seeing, hearing, talking, why this child had to be born like that? And in these few examples that I'm listing to you, the Hindu says, well, in your previous birth person, we all made sin. So when the person is saying the prayer, for example, if I were to ask you tonight, I'm sure one of my Pandit brothers touch on it. When you see they put in on the bandara, they ended the sprinkled till and everything, the sesame seed. If you know what that is for, you're going to make sure and put it. Meaning, it come from the sweat of Lord Vishnu, Gard Puran. Lord Vishnu make the sun going up, and as the sun came in human form to bow to Lord Vishnu foot, as he touched him, Surya Dev caused Lord Vishnu to sweat. From his face come white tail, chest and thorax brown tail, legs black tail. And he says, depending where my sweat is, when you offer it, the sin that you make because of how you think, or how you talk, or what you do with your hand, thief, rob, hit, etc. Dear God, when you put it, dear God, forgive me for that mistake. This is why we just put it in the tari when we do in Hawan. We're putting it in the food. We're putting it in the Siddha. We're putting it even in the Dara for Lord Shiva. In different places, you see people offering it. But if you don't know, and this is one of the things that you will hear it in different discourse, I'll remind you of one popular place is where Kak Bushun telling Garud in Kali Yuga, people go believe in prayers. They go have the bhakti, they go have the devotion. I believe in it. Where you doing it for? Where you believe in? Me, I know now. Pandit tell me to put it, so I put it. My mother tell me to do it, so. In my example, the till. I put the till. But they now tell me to put it, so I put it. Where you put it for? Why you off it? Me, I know. So if the person asks you why, what you're saying when you put it, what you're telling God, I really know. And that becomes the problem. And this tonight is the premise for this. Narad says, what is this thing you're talking about? The Sahasranam, the 1000, chapter 71, they keep talking and he explained to him here. He says the Sahasranam is a prayer that is chanted, and where it comes from is from the lips of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the person who created. Everybody wanted to know what is the benefit. If a person think what I say to everybody, because of maybe the money in my pocket, I can afford to do the grand prayer. If my belly spoil as a lady, maybe I can't do the prayer. Tonight we in a home where somebody died, we can't do the prayer the way we would, go to the temple and do arti and sing and so on. What could I do? So the prayer, the guidance is chant, even in today's world, listen to the Sahasranam. Where it comes from? Narad had gone and he asked his father, please tell me about the value of this name of Lord Vishnu. Lord Brahma tells him, please listen, in this Kali Yuga, worship in everything has to be done using his name. The person who recollects Vishnu's name, the conqueror, the one who fights all bad, that person, just like if you take the till and you put it in the food or you put it in the dar, he says, wherever my sweat is, unclean, bad, that's why it is put under the coffin on the ground where the gobar is. Bad things, bad people cannot come. He is able to purify any amount or any type of sin. There's nothing else as effective as that. Knowing this, the person should recite his name. They should call upon his name from time and time again. And in doing so, the person is going to be freed of the sins that are causing the trouble upon the body. If the person having eyesight problem, yes, we just go facing east. When you're doing puja, Surya Narayan Swami, you're in the east, send your rays and penetrate my body. Whether my problem is in my eye, my circulation, my chest, I get pain, burn it and heal it. When you're going to offer the Surya Dar, you'll see the person put their hand straight up, so holding the lota to tip it forward, so that as it rains between you and the eastern direction, let the rays, dear God, as I offer, please bless me. that I must get this help. If the person want to overcome the impediment, the troubles, another way of doing that, without doubt, the person recites the name Hari. That is the form that gives freedom from pain. If the person constantly remembers Krishna, that is the name that will burn away past sin. In fact, call his name in the morning, in the night, in the midday, and that too will destroy sin. In this way, the person is able, if you call and he starts to refer to Lord Vishnu in different names, Purushottam, Maheshwar, Madhava, Narayan, and he started to call it out. He says, Dad, all these names are so powerful and wonderful. I've heard there is 1,000 names for Lord Vishnu. And if a person should recite it, it would be as if where they're sitting, where they're doing the prayers, is as if you went to Gaya, if you went to Kurukshetra, if you went to them place, if you just know the prayer. Daddy, tell me the secret. Give to me that chant, that prayer, so that I can call Ram, I can call Narsingh, I can call all these forms that happened before. And if you are saying what you are saying, just as how if I chant his name, I will get the blessing. So then don't keep it secret anymore. Tell me what is in Satyug, Treta, Dwapar coming down, so that I would be able to destroy all my sin. Narad is saying this. And then by uttering and muttering the name of the Mastya form, the Kurma form, the Varaha form, etc. of Lord Vishnu, then I will be very happy. This is the guy, Narad Muni is the guy who is so blessed that he could go and massage and massage Lord Vishnu. He may have more blessings than me and you, and he's still looking for more, much more for me and you. Hearing this, Narad still pressing the father, when children, what is secret? But it is use my father, you go give me the secret. In this way, with little mama guy and sweet talks, he says, Dad, if you give me the names of Lord Vishnu, all souls will get peace. Unrested souls. In this English version, it says the goblins, the evil spirit, things that feed on different forms. Living people, it have some names for these boot that it literally comes to suck the energy. You there doing Hawan and you're taking Arati, putting it over your body, and these things come to take the energy from the person. So you now wake up feeling very weak. So I want to get rid of these forms. For example, we use black till. We use different mantra. We blow on people with Gayatri. We pass kush grass. So underneath the coffin, you'll see they put kush grass. For example, like a warding off agent, like a repelling agent. I want to get rid of mosquito, spray bop. I want to get rid of zombie, put the kush grass. For example, this is why when you see them doing the prayers, watch them. You're going to see them sitting on kush grass too. They just put the kush grass on the finger to help, for one reason, protect the yajman or the person doing the prayer. Please, Father, tell me how. What is the name? What is the prayer? To Narad Muni surprise, Brahma says, as good as his name is, I do not know the 1,000 names. I do not know that stotra. I don't have the blessing to have the capacity to understand Lord Vishnu's form. He says the only person who has that knowledge, who has that imperishable memory to be able to answer your question is Lord Shiva. Go to he and ask him for that we are asking for, the Sahasranam. When Narad Muni went, Narad says, Lord Shiva asked him, where you come for? Tell me in detail what you're doing here. But in this part, Mahadev Baba, I don't know if you ever saw him, he has a 5-headed form. This 5-headed form is a powerful form. It is responsible for some forms of destruction, destructive katha, and powerful discourse as well. Mahadev says, please tell me how I could help you. Narad Muni says, I sat with my father and we discussed the power of Lord Vishnu. And we talked about his different forms, 1 or 2 forms. But then he admits that he does not have the capability or the blessing to hold the 1,000 names of Mahavishnu, and I want to hear it. I want to know about it. He sent me to you, dear Shiva, dear Guru, Jagat Guru. You are the Guru of this world. Please tell me about this. Please see it fit to release this information into my keep. Mahadev Baba, after listening to the genuineness of his prayer, he says, you know, this same thing was asked by Parvati a long time ago. I don't know if it ever dawned in your head. Reading this, it was an eye-opener for me too. In many pictures, you'll see Lord Shiva, they like it japping. Who he praying to? Think was in and we just pray to Lord Shiva, simple language. It's just we here tonight. Who he praying to? So Parvati Mata, one day, husband and wife alone, she said, Prabhu, you is the Guru of the world. You is the one who know everything. You is Rudra. You is the five-headed form. When you sit down, and there are different ways to do jap. On that jap, it have 4 different methods. You hear the pundit saying it hard. You know the Guru mantra, they say mental. It have when you're doing jap, let me just say Shivratri night, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Whispering. If the person sitting next to me, they might not hear what I say. You just be whispering method of jap. Now it have a word for it. Whispering different prayers. I just see a lip. I just barely see a teeth when you're saying the prayers, the way you just do your thing. Tell me the truth. Who it is you just pray to? What mantra you just be jagawi? If you watch your Shiva, think what I'm telling you tonight. Everybody learn. For example, the mudra, when you do like this, when I'm going to receive the panchamrit, I have a purpose to squeeze in this finger. When the person drink the milk here, when the Baba put it in your hand, this means it's squeezing this to activate a nerve in the stomach. That when the milk reach there, pull it throughout the body. Don't let it pass through the excretory organ. Don't let it go to waste then. Number 1 or number 2. In the same way, when the girl going to get married and all it is chumeso, with this Maggie, if somebody asks you, auntie, uncle, simple language, where does eat with your hand for? When you use this, when you see they put the grass and the chume so, this is where Lakshmi Mata live. So in that mudra, the person is, let me just say, on-chain, blessing, jarring the person, Lakshmi Mata, simple language, take away bad, take away najar. When the person eating the chana and aloo, whilst it have one spoon, we still holding on with we hand. And the logic is, Lakshmi Mata, bless every mouthful that I accept in my body. Bless me with health. So if the older people say, well, Pandit, eat with your hand, teach them young people today, it goes sweeter. Maybe sweeter is not the word. Maybe more blessed is the Hindu logic of eating with your hand rather than eating with a spoon. Spoon does exist. So in this way, Mahadev, I see you using different mudra with your hand. I see you using Sukhasana. You're sitting so wonderfully. You just keep your back straight. But tell me the secret now. Who it is, what it is you just be praying. Who you just be calling on. And it is here, O Narad, that I explain to her that Vishnu is my friend, Vishnu is my brother, Vishnu is my son, Vishnu is my father, my master. At one point, Vishnu Baba and Lord Shiva have a child. Hari Hara, when she comes as Mohini form, they come together as one to create Shashta. Their bond and their role is intertwined in the universe in different forms, in different ways. For me, I sit and I contemplate only him. For me, to gain the favor of that Lord Vishnu, I study and I recite the 1,000 names of Vishnu, which produces good fortune for all creation, whether the person is Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, Sudra, whether the person is married or unmarried, whether the person is rich or poor, whether the person is pure or impure in terms of sin. No matter what the person's condition is, it does not need, in other words, it does not need a huge amount of fasting, but by saying it or listening to it, the person is able to get the merit. And as it says in Gita, when you start to make the change from sinful and you want to change your ways, you will start to improve upon yourself, you will start to prepare yourself better, and every time subsequent prayer comes, you will improve and then get more and more. Think about the person making Mohanbog. The first time you might get it wrong, the second time you might put the correct amount of sugar, by the third time is a ace. You learn. But in the beginning, everybody makes a mistake. Let me just say, you're learning the mantra. You might pronounce it wrong. That doesn't mean the person is condemned and damned without mercy. Instead, Lord Vishnu is able to make the worst sinner become pure. There are many examples of this, but dear Goddess, this is what I do. This is truthfully what I am always muttering. Tonight, in this house, think what I'm saying. The Goddess is asking, you are covered with ash. You have the Munda Mala with all the skull. You have snake holding the poison here in the throat. I understand your whole history just by looking at you, Ishwar, but I never knew who you prayed to. What is this prayer that you are talking about so effective? And he goes into it tonight. He says the person who mutters the names of Lord Vishnu is that person who gains happiness. That person is able to rise above all forms of enmity, sadness, difficult situation. And Mahavishnu does not forget such a person. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. Let me do one verse of it. Put your hands together. This is for everybody's benefit. One popular verse, you know it, Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabhyam Suresham. That is from the beginning of the Sahasranam when they're invocating. What was happening there? Who chanted that verse? This prayer is recited now. When Lord Shiva tells Narad, Narad pass it on to different people. And this prayer comes where, you know the katha where Arjun shoot Bhishma with all the arrow and he lie down on the ground and all the arrow choking him so. Yudhishthir, Arjun, big brother, came and he says, Prabhu, we just hear how Yudhishthir always in trouble listening to Ekadashi story. He says, Prabhu, because of my design as per Mahabharata, the son of Arjun just died. The father, when you go and you hear Bhagavad being read, Raja Parikshit father is somebody called Abhimanyu. But when he's roughly around 16 years old, when the Mahabharata war was running, he's destroyed. So Yudhishthir went to Bhishma like a grandfather and he says, even the father didn't cause the son to die. I tell my nephew, Kongo, you know how to fight the Veer Chakra. I will protect you. And I couldn't protect him. And he dies. And with all the hardship and everything we lose in here, tell me what will help. And this is what prompted Bhishma to start to chant these names. Of all the names that it have, the last verse is used. Let me just say as a shortcut. Tonight is my one verse. Put your hand together. We pray on behalf of those of you watching at home, as well as our Aaji here. Vanamali Gadi Sankane Chakrane Chaknandike Shriman Narayano Vishnur Vasudevya Rakshato. Prabhu, protect us, O Sri Narayan, you who wear the forest flowers like a mala around your neck, you who have the mace, the shank, the sword, the chakra, the wheel of time, you who are called Vishnu and Vasudeva and all others, bless us. Vindravan Bihari Lala ki jai. Ya idam shrunu nityam yaschapa prakiti tar na shubham prapnyoti kinchit samutrayate manava. That person who is able to hear or sing without faith feeling any day of the year, that person never goes through hardship or separation or sickness. Blessed be the person in this life or the subsequent life will never have to go through that when they listen, not only chanted Baba, me and all them prayers, no problem, listen to it. Today we have YouTube. Get it and let it play and listen to it until such time you learn it and you will still get the blessing. If the person is seeking dharma, if the person is seeking wealth, if the person is seeking pleasures, happiness, peacefulness, the person will get it by the blessing of Lord Vishnu. Bhakti nam yasadatuta suchir gata manasa sahasranam vasudevasya namta meda prakitiye. That person who is able to cause others to listen to the value of this Sahasranam, that person who chants or takes the devotion, the attitude of devotion to the Sahasranam. Let me say it, when the sun is rising, the person is praying, maybe it's playing in the background, listening to it, or you cause others to hear it. That person will be able to overcome all forms of poverty, sickness. The person who is praying for salvation, like in this home, we are wishing that for our Aaji. God bless her that she would be able to get it, because tonight we are learning more and more about the value of Lord Vishnu's name. That person who is filled with fear, the person who is afraid, maybe you have some form of anxiety problem, by listening to this prayer, by saying this prayer, the person will overcome it. Whatever the person is praying for, whatever ill, the sickness, the trouble, they would be able to become cured by the blessings of Lord Vishnu. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. Narad Muni, after listening to all of that, went through, and I'm going into Skan Puran. He says, tell me, what is the rules for this Prabodhini Ekadashi? And what does Prabodhini? Why is it so important? What does Prabodhini mean? In this part, Mahadev Baba is speaking to, who is this? The same Narad, same conversation continues. The greatness of Prabodhini is, firstly, this is the Ekadashi. Today marks the day when Lord Vishnu is waking up after the Chaturmas, or the 4 months where he had been resting. That has confused plenty people, because we just hear, well, Lord Vishnu sleeping for 4 months, but then last month we had Ekadashi, different things happening. How could we do Vishnu Puja, but I'm hearing that it is sleeping? In the same way, just to put it in a different example, we will hear in the 1 year, Lord Vishnu come as Sri Ram, you will hear Ram Navami, and in the same year, you will hear Krishna Janam. It doesn't mean the two things happening at the same time. It was, in fact, separated by a long period of time, but we are celebrating the memory, the memorial of it. In the same way, when that katha happened in one kalp where Lord Vishnu fell asleep after fighting a bad guy, that was one time. People used that vrat to get blessing, long story short. In the same way, Navratam didn't happen this year, but people is use the vrat to get blessing when they have different trouble. Me and you just fast for a reason. In the same way, some people fast for the Chaturma, some people fast for Ekadashi. All have to do with Lord Vishnu. So Narad Muni was the person who was asking about it. He didn't understand too much and he wanted to understand more. Please tell me, you're saying that Prabodhini is the time when he does wake up. Tell me more about that. I want to understand it a little clearer. He says, please understand that when the prior to the Prabodhini Tithi is there in the month of Kartik, when people go to touch the water, the Ganga, the river water, not sea water, not salt water, the river water would give purification of the sins that the person created. Agreed. But better than that is when after Lord Vishnu is awakened on the Prabodhini, and after, like tomorrow and the following days leading up the Kartik Nahan, the person gains the blessings of Mahavishnu as well. If a person should fast on the Prabodhini, it is as if they have done hundreds of Rajsuya Yag, Ashwamedha Yag. The blessings that come from fasting on this day, it is very difficult to get. But in the age of Kali Yuga, when man's life becomes very shortened and they become very sickly, this is a nice, easy way to break sin and allow the person to get into blessedness. The person who is able to fast naturally in accordance with injuncture, meaning the person is fasting from This cause a little tickle. Baba, you say don't eat this, but the doctor tell me I have to eat something for the tablet. Nowhere in our text it talks about killing yourself. For example, when the food becomes medicine, let me just say, I eating roti. For the purpose of tablet, maybe a quarter roti is what I just eat. So I'll cut a little bit out of the quarter, so as to say still fast or diet somewhat. But I have to put something in my stomach in order to take the tablet. Otherwise, the same person will be in a stomach pain or a chest pain and they can't focus on the prayers. Comfortably, it says. Not to be confused with, well, Baba, I get hungry by 12 o'clock and I have a different problem. Slowly, the person trains themselves to do it. Sins that are acquired by many births, again are burnt away by this. With this knowledge of how to keep it up, with the knowledge of Mahavishnu on the night of this Ekadashi, people should have music, dance, reading from the different relevant Puran, explaining the value of the Prabodhini, offering of incense, foodstuff, flowers, different type of fruits from the season, with faith, charity is given, truthfulness is practiced, absence of what we go say in today's language, cursing, getting angry, abusing people, that those things should be put aside. But with the right attitude, the person should engage in their prayer. The person should practice different waking and fasting from water. Jagran, again, Narad, is keeping awake. And if the person is able to do this, they will never have to go through rebirth, subsequent birth again. If a person is sharing something, giving something, well, in this home we have death, but in a normal circumstance, the person is able to give something with a good mind or a good heart. That person is never in want. Some people, yes, they have a job. In today's world, you're seeing hardship because of the one job now, my limited salary is not covering everything I need. And let me just say, for the person that have to run pharmacy or doctor a lot and still buy rice and dal. So when the person is able, when they're given, one thing to consider, just as how in this home we will be giving gifts, everybody all come and eat. Gita tell it have different ways you could give food, for example. I could give you a gift where I give you this, let me just say the recipe, the food is rice and dal. That don't change. I could tell you, please, when I invite you, you're working, come now, you go eat something. But the same person reach by the table the night for the prayers. And I say, like you only come here for the roti. You only come here for the rice and dal. The same takari, but given in such a disdain kind of way, it does not yield the same blessing. Imagine now I give Shia Sida and I say, oh God, Babs, take the Sida. But I bound to give him a whole half pound. Same dal, but look at how the attitude or the thought. In the same way, when the person doing whatever little or whatever they could afford, if done with the right attitude, it will come back to the person that the same cash flow, the same salary is somehow covering the cost. Things come under control. Change is possible. When, if it happened that somebody is able to have puja on a day like today, in this day in Kartik, people chant a prayer called Purusha Suktam. The person who does this, when you are going through all forms of unhappiness in your family, where you're trying your best, but for no wonder your own, this one don't want to listen. Imagine parents and children in today's world. Your way is your way, my way is my way, and you are trying your best and still your house full of different issues. One way you could fix that is just by letting the person or let it play in today's world, let it play in the house, and you'll get the blessing of that peace in your home. If a person worships every day in the Kartik, but they miss study, they miss out the fasting, they miss out the offering or the simple chanting of Om Namo Narayanaya, the person loses the benefit or the full luster of it. On a night like tonight, people should read different katha of Lord Vishnu, Gajendra, Moksha, different things that uplift a person. Learning about the Ekadashi is one such discourse. The person should wake throughout tonight coming into the Dwadasi or tomorrow roughly. The person should sing songs, get up in the morning, worship Yamraj. Not to say only in place where it have death, but you get up the next morning and you worship God on behalf of Prait or Pitras in the family, depending on your circumstance. Every day in Kartik is very dear, but the Ekadashi day becomes more dear. Why? It is believed that on this day, Shankachod was killed on the Ekadashi in the bright half of that Hindu month called Shravan. Let me just say roughly July month when everybody was doing the Lord Shiva prayer on the Mondays. Around that time, Shankachod, the reason why the Pandit is blowing the Sankh, when Sudama got the curse and he came back as that husband of Tulsi, he dies on that day. And after that fight, as per that discourse, Lord Vishnu went and he take this 4 months sleep. It starts on that Ekadasi and it continues until the rite of Prabodhana. Prabodhana means the awakening, the waking up of the Lord. There's a prayer that is listed here where people chant when you go to them Hare Krishna Mandir and you see they pull the curtain and they say good night Lord, and the next morning they start, there's a whole ritual to wake up the Devta before you start to say praise God, give me, help me, take the red flowers and give me blessings, give me this, I'll give you that. Before all of that, they start to sing and you will see they close the curtain, and before they open it, they sing and they chant and they wake up the Lord. And then they take out his food and then they feed him, and then we start to prostrate, to pray, to ask for that. When the awakening has happened on this day, the next thing you will see, pay attention to your Facebook, pay attention to the religious channels on TV, you will see people doing Tulsi Viva. Maybe tomorrow, some people would have done it this evening, depending on what they follow. The next thing happens is that this is the day people get them married. When that wedding is finished, people start to share food now. They cook and they have feasts. Food is going to be shared. So auspicious is this time that if the person does not, if it is a meal, let me just say, a cricks and a cup of tea, whatever you have or whatever you could share, and you don't call Lord Vishnu name over it. It literally says here in verse 32 of this chapter, it is as if you are eating sin and you are eating your own downfall. Tonight when everybody go home, if you remember anything, tonight is a wonderful night. This night has come one day for the whole year, and people is wait for the opportunity to get to do prayers. Tonight, by this Lady Grace who hosts this satsang tonight, we get to sit down and talk good things. Tonight, when you go home, if it's a cup of tea or whatever you're taking, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, bless it. Krishna Arpan. And take. The person who doesn't do this, it is as if you have the tablet. Imagine, what are you pundit crazy? I have paracetamol home. I have all the headache, but oh God, sometimes they put the paracetamol in my mouth, I don't want to take it. And you're going to say, this pundit crazy? You have the answer in your hand, boy. You have the medicine in your hand. Take the thing now, man. In the same breath, imagine what he's trying to tell you here. Pray over whatever you're putting in your mouth. We didn't know before, fine. Good thing we come here by the Ram Singh house. We get a little training. We get a little insight. We get a little kisa. Karma give you that. Nobody will give you nothing. Your karma allow you to be here. We could have very well say, you know what? I'm tired night after night. We're going by Pandit Neil. Let me stay home. But by God's wish, we together. When you go home, put it. Why? The person who is vulgar, the person who is delusional, that person doesn't see the value in doing none of these things. And that person will squander the moment with excuses. They become lethargic. I'm going to do 2 verses from Gita for you to build this point. He said the person, well, where we going to do things for, and somebody dead. Simple language. And somebody pass away. And next door, you ever hear somebody say that? How we go fast and the next door them had death? How we go look bad? Sometimes it has rules, you follow your rules. But when the family next door is not your family, to be honest, you could do your prayers. It come like if I say, I don't want to offer dar because next door something happened. You're making excuses. He says, the learned devotee should understand that you do not give up the observance of these days, even when postnatal, meaning after the child born, post-death pollution comes. There is nothing that could contaminate Ekadashi. There's nothing that could contaminate Lord Vishnu's worship. Who made this mistake? Gandhari taught the lady from Mahabharata, the girl who ties her eye. She was blessed by a Muni that she would have 100 sons. And while she was doing her prayers, she thought that because of somebody else, long story short, somebody else come unclean. So I not going to do my prayer. And she prayed, Ekadashi prayer. When she missed one of the day, because of that reason, to avoid the contamination of death, what it did was it caused her life. What she was praying for, she lived to see the opposite. Her children died. She lost. Just as how somebody considered this with a stupid bundle telling you. Just as how somebody say, if you do the prayers properly, oh God, you will pass the exam, child. Understand that the part we don't pay attention to, if you don't do the prayers properly, you'll get trouble too. We just tend to think God will have mercy and understanding if we make a mistake. But then it have laziness. Then it have people who just like to wallow in doing the shortcut way. And when God presenting the information for the person that, listen, it have a better way, it have a correct way, and you could practice it if you just wake up and do it the correct way. Sometimes, well, I see the man up the road do so, and that attract the person. Remember, how you do is so you get. And in your Gita, it reflects that. I'll get that for you just now. In different times when people study their happiness, look at the word it say here, happiness. And sometimes happiness and prayers don't line up. Happiness is sometimes the comfort. He says the person who made poor judgment, Rukmanda, now different discourse with Mohini, he gets cursed from Lord Vishnu in that female form. That don't matter even if I stand in, look at you this year, even if I in the presence of God, but I make stupid decisions. There are many, discourses that we could talk about, but one that people is asked, if God was Yudhishthira, them personal friend, if the trouble we read in all this book, Ganesh Puran, all this is when Yudhishthira done Betty wife, he done Betty brother, he done bet so much a gambling. This fella is so stupid. He couldn't stop. He was truly addicted. But Lord Krishna is your best friend. Oh, and God at any time could have stopped him. He did. He tell him at any time, you see, when that fella called Shaukani go to gamble with you, stop, don't go. That dice had a curse on it. And he gives him the insight. That is how you and I know that black magic, simple language, black magic was ruling the dice. He warned him. But the fella said, I'm a cousin. My cousin and them are going to do me black magic. They're going to do beyond me. Them like me. And when he get catching the vice, he couldn't come out. It was one bet. This time I go win. This time it going to be different. This time I go do it one more time. I'll come. And he was digging himself deeper and deeper and deep until he really lost everything. And he couldn't help himself. So now when he reached rock bottom, now he start to go for God, and he want to learn about Ganesh Chout, and he want to learn about Ekadashi, and he want to learn about everything. And there is where Krishna tells him in one discourse, and he says it here in chapter 18. If somebody says to you tonight, I wrapping up, Pandit tell me to be on time. If somebody say, what are you doing all them prayers for? Pandit talk plenty thing. Pandit talk about so many things last night. Somebody asked you, well, what are you doing? Look up Pandit Neil had to shave his head. Nowadays, you're taking a chance when you shave your head, you're sure if you go grow back. What are you doing all of this thing for, man? Simple language. Well, Pandit, I want my grandmother, in this example, for those of you watching home, I want my grandmother to be happy. I want her soul be happy. We are waking up tonight for Pandit. I want to be happy. I want my family to be happy. Pandit, very verse there, boy. For the person who reads chapter 18, he talks about happiness. In happiness, there are three kinds. I thought I had this thing here, man. If somebody asks you where is happiness, it have happiness where? Tamasic happiness is when you ever see young children. I could be happy when I could lie down in the bed and stretch and I don't have to get up. And I could just sleep late and I don't have to do nothing. Lethargy, laziness, everybody could get tired. There's a difference. Anybody could get tired after you turn and you cook all the food, everybody need rest. This is not that. Nowadays you're seeing it more and more. People don't want to work. People don't want to do. People don't want to fast. People wake. You're mad. I wouldn't be happy with that. Who going on wait? Forget tonight. Forget this Ekadashi thing. Shivratri. Why waking up for Pandit? My bed wet. But if we say, let me go and wake and watch a cinema, let me go and, carnival or some other thing, fly in the airplane to 2 o'clock in the morning, that time the same person is happy to do it. Think about the person now. That is tamasic happiness. When the person could sleep whole day, lie here, don't go, don't do, don't function. That is tamasic happiness. The other happiness, the mediocre happiness, is when you're looking for it, you're doing only to get. When you go on your study, babe, you'll get a good job. And that good job will give you a good salary. And that salary, sometimes it stays sweet. The verse says happiness is derived from the senses. At first, it tastes like nectar. I'm reading verse 38, 37, 38, 39, chapter 18. First, it tastes sweet like nectar, but it is turned out to be poison. So some people, when they get the education, it's only to get a job, to get money. Where does do with the money? Because nobody never teach you about charity, helping your own family, doing anything constructive. When I get it, well, the rum raised in the budget. So I'll go, not drink my rum. When I see all what I had to see, when I hear what I had to hear, because no matter what they charge for these tickets in the fete closing down, everybody balling, but there's only more and more money. Happiness, I'm glad for that. In today's world, you're going to see people going to court. Yesterday, a lady was walking on the road in Chaguanas. A man grabbed she in a very inappropriate way. But the same people live in a society where next to nothing, and you will find happiness in that. So you live in a time where your sense of our local word, we go say shame or modesty, you don't find happiness in being covered, in being modest. That becomes a problem. You want to see this pundit get in trouble? Let me just say where you're earning. And nobody will say, good pundit. I am telling you, they will say, pundit, why are you watching the lady for? Think what I'm saying. It seems as if it's a different thing. So when you could do what you want, Babs, I will be happy. One fella, just to paint the point. One fella said, pundit, we're doing prayers tomorrow. But boy, yesterday I eat a good hog head. Ask Pundit Neil with his meet all kind of people. So I say, but you really eat that or you're joking? I thought you're joking at first. He said, no, I do that, I eat that. And tomorrow you will reach on time and don't reach late. So I say, but you have to fast. He said, no, Pundit, you see all backward, You're real backward. God coming for in my heart, not for in my stomach. So even in your Gita, you go here, it have fasting or prayers in different category for different people, different rules. For some people, happiness is when I could eat or drink what I want. When I could party and dance and mingle and do that, that is happiness for some people. That is rajas or mediocre happiness. At some point, that with the start off sweet, the rum, the start off sweet, lead people to sickness or vomiting. For example, at some point, the marijuana just let you go and you just wake up. The drugs, you just come out of that euphoria. People does feel happy. It's real. But at some point, you have to wake up from it. When, as a pundit, you need that coffee in the morning. Otherwise, you can't go. People become addicted to different things. You have back pain, you will see people taking 4 codeine when they're supposed to take 1. And you will feel the relief of the pain. But at some point, that pain coming back. So the little happiness you're feeling, it's short-lived. It's not only to beat rum and cigarette. Upon it bad. Remember, in today's world, children are not abusing the traditional drugs like long ago. People are drinking. Now, it's too much a tablet. When you go in foreign, NyQuil and all these drugs have to be locked up with key now, because they're boiling NyQuil and they're taking different medication. And the best type of happiness, which what people should strive for, in verse 37, he says, listen, it have different forms of happiness depending what works for one person may not work for another person. It depends on the caliber and the conditioning of that soul. What a 50-year-old find happiness in, 5-year-old may not see the same value. Likewise, but the best form of happiness sometimes start very bitter. It tastes very bitter, very difficult, very hard, but eventually brings nectar, long-lasting results and reward to the person. But the person has to have the vision or the drishti to see the value in this medicine, as it were. The other day, I had suffering with this cold, and I was so happy I got a bottle of Buckley's, to be honest. But it tastes very bad. But it worked, boy. It really worked. You have trouble. Imagine we wake tonight for this Ekadashi. It's hard to wake up when you're sleepy. It's hard to fast when you're hungry. Nobody else knows. But when you start to see the reward and it stay with you, we live in a time where people are very unsafe. Business closing down every day. And you still somehow, maybe you're making $100, but you're making $1. The child, somehow, you pass the maths and you see the little glimmer of good in your life. The sugar coming down, it coming down, pressure coming down, the tablet starting to work. Something is happening. And that happiness hit you. You want to see happiness? Go and find an old diabetic. Somebody who fighting it 25 years and they prick their finger in the morning and they get a good result. The pressure come good, boy. Pundit, grandson, watchman, a man. I remember my mother. Watch me, I got a good result, and I tell you, I'm behaving myself. Happiness, depending on the quality of the happiness, is there. It depends on what you want, and what you do, you will gain that happiness. Principle of Indravan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, having said all of this, my only prayer, as I said, Pandit Neil has become very close to my home. And he's somebody when I call for, most of the time I just be calling for favor. This is probably the first time I get to do something for he. When you live like that and you get the chance to repay, if this you call this repay in any way, if I could help him, I'm glad I could do it. When you get to do something for somebody like Aaji, you really wish the person to be happier. Now, look, imagine Prabodhini, Ekadashi, and she prays running, people fasting, people coming and doing satsang in she name, in she place. It is hard little signs when people got, when they have that karma, not only on the body, but when you look at the children, grandchildren, when you look at the way they die, the time, how the prayers go do, the quality of the prayers, if you had a karma, you're going to get them kind of outcome. So if you want like happiness and you want that joy tonight as I wrap up, use the opportunity like this satsang and last night and other pundits, take what you could get, what you could remember, take it home and put it to practice. In doing it, when you change and you make one step to your God, that is where Aaji get help. Who help you? Who make you a better devotee? Well, I gone by the Ram Singh and them and I hear something, I never know that. And tonight I know it, so I'll put it to practice. And that is where she gets the punyam. That is where she gets that reward. That little drop of help, that is what we're playing for. If you within your life, you're sick of all the trouble and the sickness, one thing, whenever you lost your own, people is talk. They just tell you, well, time is heal all wounds. In my case, in 21, I lost my mother. Pandit come and he's doing all the Shrad and Nandi Mukh Shrad and things still. And my father died when I was 12 and mommy died when I was 40 something. And I don't know about you, but I don't know if you just ever forget or move on from your mother. In my case, I just still, Ma, look at doing this, Ma, look at doing that, I reading Jog, girl, bless you wherever you did. Look, we sharing food, God bless you wherever you did. And I just feel peace and I just feel happiness in doing that. Tonight, as we wrapping up this prayer, I wish that the lady who lived here, who caused my friend to be who he is, I wish she happiness. That all, you see, all the needle and the tablet, when you used to be the person who used to go and weed your whole yard when she was man, if it had cow in this yard, I could only imagine the work. And then you see yourself evolve to less strong and less stable. Well, Ma, all that pain and all that trouble done. And I wish you happiness. I wish you happiness. Keshava, not knowing Aaji, I only know she grandson. God bless she for that person. And I pray that tonight, as we conclude, that you all learn something about your God and you put it into practice. Vindravan Bihari Lalaki Jai. Everybody, as we are about to close, I hope you remember a little bit about what we talk about tonight. And when you go home tonight, don't miss. If it's a sip of water, Lord Krishna, you drink first, I drink after, and then take it. Take it like medicine tonight. If you can't wake up, that's fine, but just offer him something in your own way so that blessing a little bit. This year we're going to do it so, next year we're going to do more. But what tonight is, this Prabodhini, it is the awakening. Wake up. So now that you wake up, you will hear different prayers happening tomorrow, day after, as we go in for the Gangadhara. When that Kartik Snan happening, this is the value of Vishnu Puja doing and then the Ganga Puja doing. And now the person going to bathe and get the sins off the back. And that is why we don't go before the day happens. Everybody, with that in mind, put your hands together as we do closing mantra. Dear Lord, thank you for this little time, another night spent together doing choice discourses. As we share information, as we pray together in true satsang, as a community, as a family, we support this family in their time of loss. We pray collectively that wherever that soul is, bless Aaji. Let she know, because of the love and the loyalty of this home and this family and all homes attached, tonight we continue in prayer for her upliftment and for the blessing and the protection of the living members that are endeavoring to do all that they have to do. God bless them to have an easy time, good weather, good support, and God bless everybody who assisting. Make these days, nights, the prayers possible. Prabhu, if it have any type of blockage or hindrance or any type of difficulty, please remove it and allow our mother, our grandmother to know that we love she and bless she with happiness, dear God. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om shanti 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 hari om. Principle of Indravan Bihari Lal ki jai. Siddharam, everybody, God bless all you and reach home safe. Until tomorrow night. Everybody on the live, God bless you all. I hope you enjoy the satsang until we get to do it again. Sitaram. Sitaram.